Thank you for stopping by yet another edition of the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I am Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Review. And in Massachusetts, today's date is the 19th of April, 2017. The Boston Bruins are just about to start game 4 of their series with the Ottawa Senators. Go Bruins. And I will be enjoying a 2016 edition of the Founders Kentucky Breakfast Stout. Now, I took the price tag off of the single bottle because apparently the Founders, when they had their Kentucky Breakfast Stout week back in 2016, they suggested and sold the price of the beer, and they suggest again that the price be sold at $5. Well, this was actually $8.99. So say what you want about the price on that. And it says on the back of the bottle the following. What we've got here is an imperial stout brewed with a massive amount of coffee and chocolates, and then cave aged in oak bourbon barrels for an entire year to make sure wonderful bourbon undertones come through in the finish. Make your taste buds squeal with delight. Now it says it in the middle here in white, and I don't think you can see it really well, but it says that this one was bottled on the 2nd of March 2016, and this version in 2016 was 12.4% alcohol by volume. The 2017 this year is 11.8%, and as one could imagine, 100 rating. So I've had this actually on tap at a Providence, Rhode Island hard rock music hall. I think they're selling it for $7 in like a 12-ounce draft, which is great. That even a place like that, it's a good price, but even for a place like that to have it, it's pretty amazing. I'm going to have it in a snifter glass. I think that's appropriate enough. The whole contents are not going to fit. I'm going to leave a little bit of room. Ooh, that tastes good already. I'm going to leave a little bit of room for the nose to get into it. But if I look at it in some light, it's got only the slightest ruby red tinges around the bottom here of the glass, around there. But pretty pitch black. It's got your typical khaki colored head to it. Tiny bits of popping and fizzing. Looks like it's going to have some nice legs that are going to cling to the glass. Definitely a 12.4, being on the boozy side. And I didn't mention this already, but the bottle has been in my basement in an unfinished part that's probably between 55 and 60 degrees, so this is straight room temperature, cellar temperature. Smells like a big imperial stout. Big vanilla, chocolatey notes, definitely the woody bourbon kind of notes, dark fruits, cherries. Coconuts in there, a toasted kind of a coconut quality. Definitely the alcohol is in there, but it doesn't really sting the nose too badly at all. Again, there's a nice chocolatey note. It's a dark chocolate malt. Not exactly sure what they use to make the beer. I'm on their website. They don't really mention what they put in, but their brewmaster says you put the right beer in the right barrel and you're going to create something pretty. You're going to create some pretty interesting flavors. So that's definitely what I'm getting. Just a nice nose for big beer and not overly boozy, but again, you get the booze. So let's take a drink. Cheers. Kentucky Breakfast Stout 2016. A flavored stout is good for everything a flavored stout ought to be. Cheers. Yeah, this is way better to me. already, this is way better to me than the Bourbon County Stout from Goose Island, and I'll tell you why in a second. To me, it's a lot smoother. It does taste of 12.4%. No bones about it. It does not burn. It does not have any alcohol, hot heat. It's actually pretty smooth with a little bit of carbonation. And that's my only real complaint, is it still does have some carbonation that you wouldn't expect. It's on the medium to high side of carbonation. You wouldn't expect that in a Imperial Stout. But the mouthfeel, it is full, but I'm actually kind of crazy enough to say it's medium to full. It has a little bit of oily stickiness. It has some of that sugary sweetness to it. Again, like in the flavor or like in the nose, I'm getting the chocolate. I'm getting those vanilla bourbon barrel woody notes. I'm definitely getting some coconut. That's the word I'm looking for, coconut. And there is that coffee thing that they're talking about here. Or not that they're talking about coffee. Let me put it that way. This isn't a coffee stout, but there are those typical coffee-like roasty notes to it. It does have a pretty good chocolate malty balance. There's not a lot of hops that I can really detect. It's pretty much a malt bourbon bomb. There is a little bit of a bitterness from the 12%. Sometimes I think that a higher ABV will give the beer more of a bitterness overall. You can definitely feel it warming over a couple of minutes of time, and even a couple of seconds, but in the mouth, not very hot. Slight amount of heat when it goes down, but it doesn't burn at all. This, to me, is a quintessential bourbon barrel stout. I think if you haven't tried bourbon barrel stout or haven't jumped into that direction as far as imperial stouts are concerned that are bourbon barrel aged, or if you haven't had any beers that have been bourbon barrel aged, although Kentucky Breakfast Stout may be a little bit pricey, I think it's a great direction to go. And even colder, as I remember, in Providence, Rhode Island, it is more chocolatey and fudgy. But to me, it's thinner in the mouthfeel than most imperial stouts, but because of its drinkability and because of the fact that it is pretty smooth and it doesn't have much alcohol burn, and you can still taste the alcohol, it's going to get an A+ from me. This is pretty good. This one warrants the hype. And if I ever see Canadian, they got Canadian Breakfast Stout, Kentucky Breakfast Stout, and just their plain Breakfast Stout, as well as an Imperial Stout from Founders. But if I ever see Canadian Breakfast Stout, that's even more rare, and I would love to try that. But this is just a smooth, drinking, easy to go by Imperial Stout. It does taste great at room temperature, and again, at a colder temperature, I recall it having more of a chocolate fudgier note. But it is so smooth, has all your notes that you're looking for in a bourbon barrel aged stout. As far as chocolate, coffee, coconut, vanilla, chocolate, like I said, there is some of that boozy soaked raisins and cherries in there. It's just a complex beer style, and it does it well in an easy drinking package. So please be careful and use the correct judgment when drinking this beer. I think it's better than the Bourbon County Stout line of beers, but please get a bottle and judge and try for yourself. This has been Master's Beer Reviews, looking at the 2016 Founders Kentucky Breakfast Stout. Life's too short, drink amazing beers. Until next time, keep tasting these great beers. Cheers. See you soon.